gin. Off this gin, I'm melodic with the smoke in the air, and the smell is hypnotic. With a strawberry switch blunt with a whole lot of chronic in a pocket, with a wallet, with a whole lot of nada. I be stressed, but it got me in an ethereal mode, with a serious soul in a cereal bowl. Like I'm searching for the sunflower, I'ma go on the road, but keep my mind open, infinite like the Konami code. Hip-hop is my soul. Hope you looking when he's rapping. B-boy spinning to the beat like Mugen when he's scrapping. I'm jugging and I'm lapping on my way to Shangri-La. But some live, some die in the way of the samurai. Hear my battle cry, I might stay late and keep my fresh on the sideways 8. Yeah, I might make babes. All I need is some risotto and a cosplay chick that was born in Kyoto. Why? But that's a no-no if I ain't got that protection B. I keep my sword sheath, I don't need no BM stressing me. I wonder if there's a message, G, when I hear these new rappers. I ain't hating you rappers, but I prefer the boom bappers. It's the truth rappers, it's the war of the words. And I'm standing on top the castle representing the third. I guess you ain't heard, I'm following my destiny, following the God of fools, father to the death of me. A cross on my chest and resolve in my heart. Ain't shit you can do to bring a stop to this march, bring a stop to this art. You must be JK, and I grab the mic and get loud like an AK spray, and then I stay laying this heat over beats. I got the resolve of a beast, so girl, put your knees over these shoulders right here. They holding up the world already. Mujushin style stabbings got your girl all sweaty. Ah, you mad, bro? My bad, I'm in my zone. Miyamoto Musashi with the microphone. The best squad in the city is watching my back. I might hit you with the two-piece like Mataza the Zap. I'm just talking that crap. I'm a peaceful warrior, and my flow Mega Man. I'll defeat and absorb you while I'm hungover off gin and soda. I'm a fucking hero, dog, man. I beat Genova. Word to Jehovah, right hand on the rhyme. The way I'm rapping these lines, so you can examine my mind. Take a step inside, don't be afraid. I'll let the beat lead me while I lead the way. And I seen today, as I read the sermon, that all I can tell you's only death is certain. But the way of the samurai is found in death. You might hear a lot of deep shit, but mine sounds the best. Yes, yeah. This one, baby. KV Anime on the beat. Hood Hemingway.
Wasted away. Hello and welcome everybody to another episode of Random Conversations. I actually don't know how many times I've done this, so I just called it episode 42 because 42 is the answer to everything. And please let me know if you can hear me all right. I have not actually ran a stream myself in over a month. So most likely Windows has fucked up my sound settings and things are going to be totally screwy. I will be joined by Atima shortly, I believe. I'm actually going to reach out to her. Hey, I already went live by myself. Just join the call-ins, and I will drag you down. That actually goes for everybody out there, too. Random Conversations. Anybody is welcome to join. I see a Earth Alien dude up in chat. If you want to go down to live show call-ins, if you actually want in here, I will be more than happy to drag you down to have a conversation. The biggest reason I went live is because we were doing our accelerated deconstruction stream. I rate prostate 50 minutes in, wasn't feeling good, he had to leave. And I think things were going at the conversation was going in a good direction. So I wanted to continue what we were talking about on the prior stream. Cosmo, thank you. Audio 100. But yeah, so what we were talking about before was I believe that the liberal order, and I'm not talking about liberal as in how we used to, or how in America for some reason we just decided that anything on the left was liberal. I'm talking about the classical political philosophy of liberalism. And I believe that that is no longer going to be the dictating line of reasoning for any of our institutions. I think we have moved to the postmodern era. I don't think there's much that's going to stop it. And I think we just need to prepare ourselves. And a lot of this actually does have to relate to the storming of the Capitol. I said I was opposed to it several times. I thought it was a very dumb thing to do. But also in the grand scheme of things, I don't see it as being some like the worst affront to democracy that has ever happened, as the mainstream media tries to put. In fact, out of all people to criticize what happened at the Capitol, I don't think the mainstream media is even close to having the moral authority to condemn this, considering that most channels, like CNN particularly, as long as it was for a cause that they believed in for the last year, they didn't really care if people were burning down buildings and looting cities. Yeah, liberals reject that which is here. When classical liberalism became conservative in the 1870s, new liberals had to emerge. Yeah, that's why I try to be very careful when I say liberalism. I mean the Enlightenment arisement of what was called liberalism. An American conservatism is actually very unique. You'll notice the conservative parties in other countries, they're actually not incredibly liberal. America has the American Conservative Party, is like the Republican Party specifically, has always had a constituency that was what they were trying to conserve was liberalism, right? It wasn't a social or cultural conservatism. It was an ideological conservatism. Um, it hasn't always been true. Um, what what was it, Mr. Conservative, Robert Taft? I know the Goldwater movement. Um, he was famous for saying, extremism in the name of liberty is no vice. Man, squash, exactly. Um, the reason I think it's important, and that's why I said we need to just take back the word liberal, is because the ideas that we were talking about, and if you missed the first part, it's on Irate Prostate's channel. The ideas we were talking about that are kind of taking over our institutions, that stem from critical theory, those are anti-liberal ideas. They say so explicitly, right? They think liberalism was a failure and that we need to change up in the entire system and create a new system based on critical theories. And they don't even really explicitly say what it's going to look like. They just know that the current system is bad, so they need to disrupt and dismantle it, and that we need to replace it with, I don't know, some sort of race-based socialism, but it's not like necessarily economic socialism. It's more like distributing shares of power between racial groups, which sounds incredibly fucking weird, but that's my best summation of what they're trying to advocate for. And yeah, I'm aware of the history of the Republican Party. I've never been a fan of the Republicans. In fact, I think the Republican Party is still majority ran by neocons. I just know that the Republicans kicked a lot of the neocons out. I think what you're seeing in the Democratic Party is it's the same thing. It's people that are neolibs, but they are attaching themselves to this new postmodern idea, and it's because it actually it just leans itself into perpetual power, right? So as long as they can convince people that they are on the side of the postmodernists, they can maintain power. Once again, this is an ideology that doesn't believe in objective truth and doesn't believe in free speech. It only believes that truth is what the power structures say is the truth. And so long as they parrot the truth that they want to hear, which isn't really the truth, they will stay in power. Uh, Emma said she would be here shortly. I almost never go live solo, guys, so forgive me if I don't do a good job of keeping a conversation going. But thank you for the 6 people that joined in. Especially you, Cosmo. I miss you, man. I've actually been playing League of Legends a little bit lately. Um, I am extra bad at it. I was never that good, but because I only play like 1 or 2 games a week, I am like I'll play like Caitlyn 80 carry or something. After like 10 minutes, I have like 20 CS because I can't last hit for shit. It might help if I played sober. It's no fun if you're sober. In fact, we never played sober back in the day. And for you guys who don't know, like Cosmo used to live in the same neighborhood as me, and we would do LAN parties, and we would play League of Legends, and we would get really drunk. We even played in some tournaments and stuff. I think I remember one like we actually won a match. I don't think were you on that team, Cosmo? I don't think you were. I thought you were playing top lane for us, but I could be wrong. I know me and Brian were bottom lane playing support. Reapster was playing mid. Pretty sure it was you top, but I could be wrong. I know the Asian was playing jungle. I was talking about the tournament. Like we only played 2 matches. We won the first one and lost the second one badly. Yeah, Man Squatch. What I'm really hoping for is because I know that a lot of legislation will be passed using critical theories as a justification. I'm hoping that some Democrats will step up and oppose it. Uh, Democrats that I think that actually believe in liberalism, like Tulsi Gabbard, I think they will try to shake some things up. I think that the battleground Democrats, they're going to have some tough decisions to make going forward. But from what I've seen lately, like one of the strengths of the Democratic Party is that they do act in unison, unlike the Republican Party, where I think the Republican Party is actually way more fractured than anybody would like to believe, or at least what the media would tell you. Yeah, that could happen. It just seems like right now they've done such a good job of keeping the far left wing of the Democratic Party, and the what I would say like the neocons of the Democratic Party, like Pelosi. They've done a good job of just bartering and dealing with each other. Didn't Tulsi release a video recently, Carl, about the the Capitol riots and stuff, and she had a pretty measured response. I thought I saw somebody else sharing it, and they were talking up on Tulsi, but I didn't actually watch the video myself yet. Man, you talk about Bernie Sanders. I had some hope for him for a little bit. Like I didn't like his socialist. Yeah, Cosmo. We've talked about this before. Is postmodernist the original postmodernist, especially like Derrida, Michael Foucault, um, or Foucault, Jean Francois Lyotard. They were radical skepticist. They didn't even actually believe. They didn't actually believe in things like objective truth. Yeah, Cosmo. I am using the term that way. I think we're talking about the same thing. The issue is that postmodernism itself was not prescriptive. It was it couldn't be, because under its own rules, if it was prescriptive, then it would have the same fallacies that it was trying to criticize. We have a new era of applied postmodernism, which is what kind of led to this new um, it. I mean, it's the stuff we call, like, as a pejorative, cultural Marxism. Things like all white people are racist inherently. I don't believe that, and I think it's actually a terrible way to look at the world. Um, but I think that ideology is going to be front and center. I think it's going to be front and center for all their institutions. It's already been, it's already taken off in academia. It's already well embedded into our media apparatus, and I'm pretty sure that the new Biden administration is going to be very permissive of it, and it's going to just go completely off the rails over these next 4 years at least. And it's an incredibly anti-liberal framework. This is why I said at the end of the stream is this is not about left and right anymore. And the best thing people that are right, like hardcore right wingers, Cosmo, you can say you don't think many people believe that, but it is actually a very guiding principle of a very strong political movement. Well, yeah, this is why I said, like, I think over the next 4 years, like, especially people on the right, they need to reframe things versus, instead of left versus right, they need to look at things as liberal versus anti-liberal, right? Like, we can go back to arguing amongst ourselves as to what the government's role in healthcare should be. But we can't have this crazy idea that anytime you see a disparity between groups, it automatically implies racism. And we can't have policy based on such a simplistic notion of reality. Just to give you an anecdotal story, Cosmo, I was in a Zoom call at work where they were talking about belonging, right? And so we have a belonging council at my work, which is a pretty big American corporation. And one of the people from the belonging council got up and explained to people how all white people are racist. You're conditioned to be a racist. It's just a natural thing, and I'm not trying to be offensive. And she was able to say that with impunity. On the book club, they put Robin DiAngelo's White Fragility and Ibram Kendi's How to Be an Anti-Racist front and center. And I saw that you were in the call-ins, Cosmo. What's up, man?
Second, I'm muting you the YouTube. What's up? Go ahead. I don't want to interrupt your thought. I'll talk with you if you want. But yeah, I can see how situationally more conservative thinking leads us to believe that racism is a real prevalent issue in our culture, and we're all in. Most liberals are or democratic socialists are sticking up for racist civil liberty, but I don't think it's as big as you're making it out to be. But sorry, go ahead.
Well, I mean, I think it's front and center of what this movement's trying to do. Um, I'm. It's one of those things where, like if you point out, like, all right, give me an example of systemic racism that exists today in America.
I mean, I'm not a social justice like guru. Like, I'm not going to say that I'm just going to be able to point out examples of systemic racism. Like, I would say that if anything, systemic racism would lead towards the courts and most judges and prior, decades of police at hand that had minimal training and were signing up based on gender lines, like getting more jobs because they are white. And you can't deny the fact that the police force was inherently white for the most part back in the early 90s and 80s. And some of this is, I think, is carrying on.
Well, actually, you'd have to take it before. You'd have to take it before the 80s
So
and
as far as
90s.
okay, one example would I would say that is starting to trend away, but was really prevalent was the incarceration of black men for marijuana, as opposed to people that white people that would get off for just marijuana charges, and the what do you call it?
Yeah, no, hold on. That's actually one thing that's amazing because I've said several times on these streams, other streams, the number one thing you could do to deal with the black incarceration issue is abandon the war on drugs. Get rid of it. I've always been against that. You know, I've always been against that because we've known each other for a long time.
People are, like I think a lot of the progressive ideas that we do agree on the right or on the left and conservative liberalism, I believe that a lot of these issues have been agreed upon a long time ago, and to be able to incorporate through litigation and change is what's making it so slow and delayed.
Yeah. So what I don't agree with is this notion that in 2020 police are just shooting unarmed black people for no reason, and they're doing it at a rate that is specific to make it so that it's an injustice that is targeting black people. I have a huge issue with that. First off, because it's actually a very small percentage of people that get shot, and it's actually lines up directly to the crime rates. If you look at the FBI statistics on the actual arrest, and then you look at the National Crime Victim Survey, like both of those things line up. So we actually know that in current day, people, like police officers, aren't just indiscriminately shooting black people more than they would shoot any other people. And I believe in police reform, but I think we can have a liberal understanding of this. I don't think we have to say, well, just because the higher percentage based on population are black, it means it's racist. I think we can look at the root causes of this and be like, okay, like the police are like some of the laws they're enforcing, they shouldn't be enforcing, and a lot of them are trigger happy in certain situations. And it happens happens at a rate that is proportional to crime rates. And I understand that, like, we need to fix the black crime rate, right? Like, we know it's much higher than the white crime rate, right? But the way to fix that is not through just some sort of arbitrary looking at the numbers and just trying to say, well, we're just randomly gonna not prosecute like X percent of black criminals because we need to make the numbers even among all groups, right? We need to look at to the nitty why black crime is so much higher, and then figure out ways which the government might not be able to solve this, right? This might have to be like a social and cultural revolution in black communities, but we need to figure out what is causing that and fix it.
Right. Well, this analytical and logical approach that you're taking now hasn't been the case for the last 30 or 40 years. That's why I think that a lot of groups have a voice to speak out now, in one case, and also have felt suppressed and oppressed as well. Because our logical understanding of trying to make things change wasn't really an ability of our society.
Well, it certainly doesn't help if you have a group that believes in this is something that's very real. It's the postmodern power principle, which their idea is they don't believe that there's any objective truth, right? You can't do what I just said where like let's dissect the actual issues down to its core, right? Let's de-aggregate the data and figure out like what is the highest contributing factor to why black crime is so high.
Fatherless homes.
And yeah, it's fatherless homes is the answer. It actually correlates directly to white crime too, actually.
Yeah. The only thing it doesn't account for is why white men are something like 12 times more likely than any other race to get shot by cops while unarmed. That's just a weird, disproportionately white men will get shot and more often killed than any other race when it comes to being unarmed.
Yeah, it also really sucks. We have selective.
That's a claim based with no fact.
Oh, go look at the FBI numbers. Go look at the FBI numbers. It's right there in front of you.
Yeah, Cosmo, I'm going to assume in good faith that Atima is not going to say anything that is just a lie, right? Like I'm pretty sure she's looked into it.
And link those in chat for everybody because I don't think.
Give me just a moment. My hands are full.
It's actually not an incredible statistic. There is so whenever you have selective reporting and selective outrage on police misconduct, you actually create a situation where cops, if they're dealt in the same situation as a white person, right? As to whether or not they're going to use lethal force, they're going to have it in, they're going to change their behavior based on the race, right? So if you know the consequences of shooting an unarmed black suspect because you felt that it was justified versus an unarmed white suspect because you felt was justified, if you know that those consequences aren't in balance, you would be more likely to shoot the white suspect because you know that the reporting and the public movement against you for pulling that trigger is not going to be as strong. It's not like, you don't have to take what Atima said at face value to understand how the way we currently look at things would affect behavior for police officers. And like, I don't even like the police. Like, I don't. But my problem isn't with the individual officers. It's more with the laws that they have to enforce. And I feel like a lot of this race stuff is just, it is diluting the argument. It is diluting what really needs to have happen, where we need legal reform, right?
But
my point was that we have a whole group of people that are lost.
What your point was. What I'm saying is, you can't say it's diluting the issue, because bringing it to the forefront of accountability has been the issue for BLM. And it's not a dilution of the issue. There was no accountability for police officers, and now there probably will be.
I'm sorry, but BLM, from what I've seen, the people that they put front and center have been the worst cases, right? Like, the cases where, like, things are cut and dry, those are the cases that they ignore. It's always cases that were, like, you can actually have, like, a plausible reason for the officer to shoot. Like, Michael Brown, the hands up, don't shoot, that was a lie. That is a complete lie. It didn't happen. It wasn't hands up, don't shoot. Michael Brown was wrestling with the officer, reaching for the gun. He got shot. Like, the court case documented it well, the witnesses documented it well, but yet still you have people saying hands up, don't shoot, and pretending like that case was one example of racial bias when it was not. Almost any officer would have shot in that case. What was the one in Kenosha?
I do remember watching the video, and I believe there was some sort of struggle there, but I if I remember correctly, it was excessive force. But I'd have to review that case again.
Yeah, if you reviewed it completely, I'm pretty sure you would have seen what I saw. And like I said, I'm not like fucking pro police, right? But Michael Brown was not like the situation. If you look at it, like, in all the there's a reason the jury was just like, yep, we can't convict here because it looked like a totally justified shooting, even in St. Louis, right? Like, it was a unanimous decision.
The back, being unarmed and fleeing from the police.
Yeah, people getting shot in the back. Like, there are certainly cases where, what's funny,
where no accountability is prevalent. So
look, there are cases where people have universally agreed upon, like, yeah, this was wrong and the police were wrong and this person needs to be brought to justice.
Well, court though, if you want to talk about systemic, it's the system of non-accountability when going in face of the law, because they are part of the law. And that's, I think, one of the bigger issues that BLM actually cares about. Now, your media hype and stuff will say, oh, it's all these people just rooting on because of racism, and these white people just hate black people. And that's really not exactly what BLM is trying to get to the core of either. I think that is a delusion on the right.
Nope. I mean, maybe. I think, I'm not sure exactly what you're trying to get to, but BLM has a very postmodern stance where they see everything in the terms of critical theory, which is, they see that there's a struggle. They think that the system is inherently white supremacist, and that everything is a struggle between.
And not every protester under BLM is going to think the same way. Also, so you have to think that, you know,
look,
people that
look, yeah,
for BLM,
the individual protesters, you're correct.
Really covers the views of any other ideology. Just like how you would consider yourself right wing, you might not be part of the. You might consider yourself conservative, but you're not going to follow every view of conservatism.
Well,
just
and
like
I actually don't consider
another
myself.
political ideology.
I don't. I've never called myself a conservative ever. I have never once said I'm a conservative. In fact, I'm friends with some conservatives that have giant YouTube channels. Let's be frank, it's up to like 100,000, and he's like, I'm in his queue to have me on to say like I might be considered right wing, but I am not a conservative. I'm a libertarian. That is like there is a difference between libertarians and conservatives.
I'm a constitutional constructionalist.
Yeah, they're like I'm not even a constitutionalist. I'm a libertarian. Like I believe in these liberal foundations of morality and rights, and I am mostly against any government encroachment of these. This makes me not a conservative. I'm not trying to conserve any values. I don't give a shit. I don't care. I want people to be free to do whatever they want so long as they are not causing harm to other people.
Yeah, I have a set of values that go with that, though. Probably because I have kids.
Yeah, we're adjacent. Like, obviously, me and you agree. And
yeah,
Cosmo here, he is what I talked about of being the left liberal, right? Cosmo believes in liberalism. He believes in free speech and stuff like that. But he also believes that government should do certain things to protect the environment, people's health, etc., etc. And like Cosmo,
yeah,
like,
I think
I'm sorry,
is the strength of years of social policy where we become, having liberty in the first place. So.
Yeah, you would agree with me that liberalism, right? Like these ideas from the Enlightenment, like they weren't perfect at the beginning. Like we had slavery, we got rid of it. We had Jim Crow, we got rid of it. We had other like crazy rules, we got rid of it. And we did all of that in the context of a liberal design. Right? We didn't have to create a new design. We didn't have to create some sort of like communist special design to make that happen. And honestly, I look at what like Western liberal societies.
We created democracy, but elected democracy. So it's slowly evolution to human individual rights. But yeah, I mean, I agree with most of what you're saying.
Well, I personally don't have. Actually, I don't think anybody should have this illusion that democracy in and of itself is a virtue. It's not.
Well, democracy is obviously not a virtue because we don't live in a democracy. We live in a republic.
Well, and people say that it's a democratic republic, right? But what
no, it's a representative republic. It is not a democratic republic.
Hold on.
Sorry.
You'll agree with this. So what we did, right, is we have a constitution, right? And it says basically like the Bill of Rights. All that is explaining is democracy is off the table for these issues.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's the only issues that are up for democracy are the powers we granted to our legislatures.
Okay, no, Ray is saying the accurate thing. The founders didn't make a whole new system. They just tweaked the British system. They did. They added some of the French elements. They added some German elements. They really went and kind of tried to pull the best pieces from other countries from around the world and turn it into something brilliant. And I think it works really well when it's allowed to work. Normally, I'd say the Republicans being feckless is what they're supposed to do, but at this point, not right now.
What's funny is that the root of liberalism was never utopian.
No.
Like, it's never going to be perfect, but we're going to lay the grounds to have ideas that will lead us to a better place.
Do you know how freeing it is to not think of life in terms of utopia? When you could just look at life and see it for what it is and say, you know what? I'm not too worried about having some perfect future. I'm just focused on having a better future. That is such a freeing way to look at the world. And I really wish we could get back to it.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon.
Oh, I think it is.
And
I think that's why we're going to see the balkanization of America happen faster than I ever thought possible.
I'm just not. I'm not nearly as confident as you are in that. I think we're gonna live through it for a while. But I do think that these anti-liberal ideas have to eat themselves. They have to, and eventually people will stop buying into it. It's really hard to think that will happen. Like what I just said. Whenever you look at it, like we're teaching our kids this, right? The media is repeating it, and our government is supporting it. Yeah. I still think it's so fallacious that it has to collapse under itself, right? That's when me and Cosmo can go back and argue about whether we need universal health care, but we will both agree that, like, yeah, free speech is a thing, and we should totally uphold that and oppose any restrictions.
Yeah. Well, I agree with that. I just...
I mean, you're saying free speech is related to
liberalism.
It's
that's all I was saying. That's all I was saying is it's part of liberalism. This is where I was saying, like, you have people that are left liberals that believe in free speech, and they believe in it absolutely. Like, you're not going to sit there and say that people should be arrested for having deplorable ideas, right?
Actually, I don't actually believe that as much, because you can see the situations that we're getting in by having so much free speech.
Oh my God, so you're buying into the repressive tolerance idea? That the best way to deal with ideas that you don't agree with is to suppress them?
No, I don't think suppression is right for them, but I think respectable forum is a lot more appropriate here that we're getting into.
No, what you have to do is
describe respectable forum.
Sunlight is the greatest disinfectant.
Like when you're inciting riots, you know, half a block down from the Capitol Hill. Like that's not, that type of free speech is a problem.
Who did that?
Well, absolutely. John Sullivan needs to go to jail. He was out there doing that.
Rudy Giuliani did it.
No, John Sullivan did. He literally said, we're going to go rip Trump out of office right now. This is a revolution. Now that is inciting violence. Going down and saying, make your voice heard in front of Capitol Hill is not violence. That is not inciting violence. Saying the election was stolen is not inciting violence.
Yep, you could be wrong, but that's not inciting violence. I'm sorry, I have a very strict definition of inciting violence, which is literally telling people to go do violence, right? Anything else, right? Any opinions that could make people mad or angry, I am not going to say is inciting violence. And I extend this courtesy to Barack Obama, who came out and like talked down on the police and started talking about systemic racism and helped stir anger for some of the riots that happened in the name of BLM. Like, Barack Obama did not cause those riots to happen because he did not tell people to go riot. So I am going to keep with that strict definition. And because of that, I not only do not blame... I don't...
parties.
Yeah, exactly. No, I apply it to both parties. I don't blame people that didn't, like, I don't blame people like Barack Obama who never said go riot, the same way I don't blame Donald Trump who never said go riot. I don't blame either of them for what happened.
But you said you're crediting Obama with stirring up doubt in the police.
No, making people angry is like bringing up ideas that could make people angry. That is fine. right?
That's okay.
In individuals, because look, I'm trying to be neutral about the idea, because everybody that like absorbed that idea and got angry thought it was justifiable. I understand them getting angry on things that they thought was justifiable, even if I disagree. But that is not an excuse to go loot, riot, pillage, break shit.
Right. But when you have your elected officials that are trying to stage a coup, say to march down to Capitol Hill and have trial by combat, would you think that that's starting a riot?
No, I would think that's not
That's
even
not,
starting a
yeah.
coup. I would think Nancy Pelosi walking into the office of the Pentagon and asking the leaders, and I can't remember exactly which office, but it's basically the guy that runs all 6 branches of the military, asked him, is there a way you can go ahead and just remove Trump now? I would call that trying to stage a coup, though.
That's not what happened. She said
That's exactly what fucking happened.
that's called doing political deference and discussion amongst
That's
your colleagues,
from the New
which is
York
totally legal to do.
Times. That's from
You
the
know,
New
and
York
then she
Times.
said,
She asked for the military to get
her
involved.
party is not
That
going
is
to
literal.
to
Dude, they had
invoke
to tell her it was
the
a coup.
25th
They had to
Congress
tell her
will.
that was
So,
a
ma'am,
coup.
you're just talking over me.
You haven't
You're
let me
talking over me
finish
and
my
not letting me
initial
talk.
statement to begin with, dude.
No, I'm not. You're talking over me so nobody can understand what's going on. That's what's happening.
No, you didn't let me finish speaking. You go ahead.
Cosmo, speak.
Okay, so as far as I understand, talking to other politicians and asking them if they're going to impeach Donald Trump from their party and if not, then she's going to use her right as House to invoke the 25th Amendment for articles of impeachment. Is no different than happens in Congress all the time.
Dude,
That's him.
the heads of the Pentagon are not political offices. Those are not fellow politicians. Those are people that control the frickin' military. I can't remember the name of the office that he holds right now. She asked him to intervene on their behalf due to the problems with the election. No, they had to tell her if we tried to do that, it would be a military coup. They had to tell her she was asking for a military coup.
Yeah.
So it's a different incident altogether. That's from the New York Times, dude. You're still cutting me off. That information is from a New York Times article.
Spreading like information that's not
true. No, you're cutting me off.
It had nothing to do with ripping Donald Trump from office. That's not even.
Fuck, it didn't.
How is that a coup also? Like, you can't, if you're a military official, you can't rip Donald Trump from office. That's not even a legal standard that you can
asked them to do it.
Yeah, she did. So
she asked them to fire nuclear weapons.
Yeah, no, Atima, you're right in the fact that they tried, like, she invoked the 25th Amendment as a reason to remove Donald Trump from office before Biden takes. I honestly, what you guys are fighting about is political theater. It wasn't going to happen. It's not going to happen. It isn't going to happen. Donald Trump is already, like, I understand Donald Trump doesn't believe that he fairly lost the election, but he does believe that he has no other outs, and he is transitioning power. I think the speech he gave about that was fine. I don't actually care that he thinks it's illegitimate. It's no different than 2016 to me. I feel like he's being no worse than Hillary was about the election being stolen. I think he might have even better grounds, but that's irrelevant. What you guys are arguing about right now is inconsequential.
Every state they challenge is all just, it's all a conspiracy.
What? Say that
court
again.
case that Rudy Giuliani opposed and brought in, you know, a forum to try and change the election results in that state was shot down and with no evidence. So
Yeah.
It was not shot down
there
with
was
no
evidence.
evidence. It was shot down on procedural issues.
Yeah,
It was not shot down on no evidence.
They had a lot of evidence. The evidence was never examined. This is a gaslighting that has been put upon a lot of people. Cosmo, I have to say for sure, the reason a lot of people were mad is because you did have a lot of people that thought that there were some real issues with the way the election, especially the mail-in ballots, went. A lot of what they were asking is like, we just want an independent signature match, things like that, like an independent forensic analysis. They brought it before the courts, and the courts denied
the statement saying that the court didn't examine their evidence. Like, I have a really hard time believing
they didn't.
They didn't.
They didn't. Like, I'm sorry, Cosmo. They really didn't. I have actually watched enough legal channels to look at what was going on. What was happening every single time, what they did is they used doctrines like latches, right? Latches is, well, you might have had a case, but you filed it too late. Or standing, which is, well, you can't actually claim yourself as an injured party, so we are not going to hear the case. So when the cases are dismissed based on that, even if they actually mention some of the evidence in the dismissal, but when the dismissal is based on things like latches and standing, those are procedural dismissals. And most of the major things that were brought forth before the court were definitely procedural. One thing that I believe wholeheartedly would have made it so that whatever happened at the Capitol would have never happened is if the Supreme Court would have just heard the case.
Yeah.
That Texas brought and other people signed on to. Because they are the court of the original jurisdiction. And I think if they would have heard it and not even changed the outcome, because I was early on this. Timma, you know this. I was early on saying, like, look, the courts aren't going to shake up the system here, right? They're not going to invalidate votes. Like, even if they have, like, plenty of evidence to prove that these votes need to be invalidated, they're not going to do it. Because they're not going to shake up the institutions because they try to protect themselves. I knew that was the case. I knew it was the case. It doesn't matter if you believe it was fair or not. The courts were not going to adjudicate on this.
No.
But I do think that you would have quelled some people had the Supreme Court actually heard the arguments, listen to it, let the arguments be. If the Supreme Court would have let the arguments been said and not issued the relief, which is exactly what Thomas and Alito said, where we want to hear the arguments, but we do not have any intentions on providing any relief. If they would have just heard it, I think you would have at least quelled some people. A significant number of people, actually.
Well, I'll tell you what.
People just wanted it to be heard.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. If Republicans don't start actively removing these voting systems that everybody's talking about, they are never going to get another seat ever.
Oh my God, the voting systems were the fucking... That was the worst. I'm sorry. The Dominion argument was the worst argument.
Well, no, I'm just talking about you need to set up standalone systems like Texas has. If you don't have standalone systems like Texas has, you're just begging for this kind of shit to happen. You're begging for all these insinuations to be available. Whether they're accurate or not, you're just begging for them to be available without having standalone tabulating systems for voting instead of this software that bounces everything everywhere. You're just begging for trouble.
I'm trying to get Aircraft Sparky in here, actually. He was actually there in DC recording for his YouTube channel. Hopefully he comes and joins us. I posted the Discord link. I would love to hear from the guy.
Apparently Nick Fuentes has zero regrets.
Yeah, fuck Nick Fuentes. I don't care about that kid.
I just think that's adorable. I really do. He's so young, he doesn't realize what he's not regretting yet.
Trying to find these lawsuits and laches that you're talking about and reasons why they were dismissed, because if you guys have actually read the lawsuits, I might believe your claims a little bit more.
I did. Like I literally did read the dismissals, especially on the Texas one on standing. It was like the most ridiculously short answer ever, where they're just like, well, you don't have standing against other states' lawsuits, so we're not going to hear the case. But Alito and Thomas said we should hear the case.
I mean, that's what I want to see too for myself as well.
Okay, so it's accurate if the media says it, but we need to be able to read all the source stuff and have it prepared for you.
What? Who says it's accurate? Why are you putting words in my mouth, man?
Yeah,
Like, I never.
Yeah, hold on, Tim.
I'm going to look for the documents right now.
Yeah, I'm going to defend Cosmo here for a second. Cosmo, he is he leans left, but he is not hardcore left. And if you give him enough information, he will change his opinion. I've known him for a little bit. We used to have conversations about politics drunk all the time. And you came to it like an understanding with me. You get me. You get who I am. You get my positions, and you didn't hate me.
Glad
you never hated me for it, which is that's the difference between
I've watched the last 4 or 5 episodes, Excel, and you've been hammered, dude, and you've made more sense than almost every person you've had on here.
I'm almost always hammered whenever I do streams. Like, why else would I do streams if I'm not hammered?
So I know. You know I know, and I can tell.
Yeah, so Tim, like, I just want to give you some background. Me and Cosmo are real life friends.
Okay.
Not really anymore, because motherfucker, you moved to where? I don't know. I feel like he is also the left liberal that we need to get to combat this postmodern movement.
Well, if you're telling me that all the stuff that the media is saying is what happened, and then telling me I have to have read all this extra stuff when it's obvious the media people haven't read what's happened, because if they had, they wouldn't be saying what they're saying. I don't understand how it's like I've already provided evidence for other stuff, and there hasn't even been a response to what I provided.
You're right. It's bad. It's actually
so
bad.
like,
It's actually bad on both sides. Where, if you're sitting around like just in like a random talk, and somebody says something, if you don't have direct evidence that is false, we have to argue in good faith. And good faith argumentation is something that I feel like is a thing of the past. I really do. Like it doesn't
popular opinion from the media. Like there's no escape from that in American culture.
huh?
You're arguing your popular opinion based on the media that has been provided for you as well.
No.
Yes.
No.
% we both are, and everybody does.
No, I'm going based off of the legal documentation available publicly.
Well, go ahead and link that in.
I will say that what you just said has some truth in the fact that people like us, we have to defer to other sources, right? I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer, right? I am not a lawyer. I don't know the law. And whenever I am trying to find information about the law, I have to defer to other sources. This is the same for everybody when it comes to economics, right? Almost
This is how we get
almost none of us know anything about economics, and we have to defer to other people who tell us about economics and how it works.
Gets in the way and doesn't allow us to justify our true information source. Like we're not being truthful to ourselves, therefore we can't be truthful to other people in
Yeah.
the conversation as well.
Yeah, and what I was
Huh?
what hold on, what I was getting at actually, Cosmo, I understood what you said, and you said Atima.
I don't
But
understand.
but I think I can conjoin this to make you understand is that we have to defer to these other sources, and then based on our own bias, whether we know it or not, we believe these sources to be true and whatnot because
Oh my God.
well, hold on, we don't have enough information. We don't have enough expertise in every single subject that we could possibly think like contemplate to determine what source is the best source to
Okay,
defer
so
to.
why is the expectation that I will have that much knowledge under my belt being placed before me? I'm
Oh
a
yeah,
little
yeah,
confused.
Cosmo, you shouldn't have attempted to do that. Like nobody has that
Well,
right under their
because
belt. They just shouldn't.
you
Like
said something.
just take in good
You
faith that
said
she's deferring to information that she has seen and she believes in.
she
It
said
doesn't
she has seen
necessarily
the
mean
Yeah, they're all over the internet, man.
anyway.
on the internet right now.
Aircraft Sparky, you were actually there in DC.
Yes, I was. I definitely yes.
So one of the things that I was telling people, and I think is incredibly true, is that the number of people that actually stormed the Capitol versus the number of people that were there just to do a peaceful protest was ridiculously small. Like ridiculously small in the fact that it was like 3,000 people versus 300,000 to a million.
In the building.
What?
What do you consider to be storming the Capitol? Would that be entering the Capitol grounds, going on Capitol grounds unauthorized, or entering the building unauthorized?
Just the building, people.
Okay, the building was only a couple of hundred people. There was, I've heard low estimates of 500,000, high estimates of over 1 million.
Yeah, there were a lot of people in front of Capitol Hill. There were also numerous other large events that were going on in different parts of DC as well. Apparently, there was close to like 3 million people there total doing stuff.
By the way, I have to AFK for a couple minutes, so keep talking.
Hi, Sparky. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Toma. How are you?
I'm glad you came out of there okay.
Oh, it was nothing to be worried about. It was a Trump rally.
I know.
Trump rallies are peaceful. Look, the whole narrative of this was complete and total insurrection is the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
It might be exaggeration, but because that is what the media does, is they exaggerate.
Well, it's the media wasn't even there. Literally everything they're saying is hearsay.
Yeah, they got chased out pretty early on.
No, they were not there, period.
Oh.
The only mainstream media source that existed, there was one AP reporter, and she talked shit to the wrong people, and they destroyed her equipment.
Yeah.
Maybe she shouldn't have talked shit. I'm just saying.
Maybe.
Status Coup was a media source, and they were live streaming during the entire 2 days.
Who was?
Stop the steal. So I mean, I don't know.
Who was?
If you want to say like NBC and Fox and stuff weren't there, then I might believe that. But just say media wasn't there, I don't know.
No, I said mainstream media. I was very precise.
After you, at first you said media. And
yeah. Well, I mean, I was there, and I'm media, so yeah.
Right.
In fact, I put up unedited videos of things. That way, people can make up their own decision.
Yeah, Sparky, I haven't gotten to talk to you since that, but I'm gonna guess you have the same opinion I do. But I'm gonna ask you the question. How do you feel about the people that did storm the Capitol?
The people that entered the building broke the law. I do not. I am not going to condemn them for doing it, although I will say I did not agree with it.
I think that has been from the people on the right. It's gone from understandable frustration to, but they shouldn't have done it, to
No,
it should never have been done at all, and that those people were terrible. And this is one thing where I think they talk about whataboutism, but at the end of the day, most right-wing personalities are universally condemning the idea that they stormed the Capitol, right?
Okay, the people that are okay, let me break this down. The people that are universally condemning it, they're doing it to save their fucking hides. That's all it is.
Yeah, they're scared little bitches.
It is, please, mommy, please, daddy, no, don't spank me and take away my job. That's what it is.
Well,
look,
no, I'm with you. I talked about this yesterday, by the way, Sparky. I just want to let you know, my personal opinion is out of all unruly protests that have happened over the last year. Look, I know a lady got shot, and then they said 4 people died, and then I found out what it was. It's there were medical emergencies amongst millions of people.
Okay, so
and I was just okay, whatever. The lady that got shot, goddamn, if this was a BLM protest, it would have escalated after she got shot.
Dude, the guy standing next to her is head of BLM for Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
She was murdered by a police officer who was scared and shot an individual who was surrounded by cops.
Yeah.
Let's just be clear. She was murdered by a police officer. She was unarmed. She was not threatening that cop in any way whatsoever. And there was 2 SWAT officers right next to her when she was fired upon.
Yeah.
So
now, look, I understand that that's a big deal, and I really do think it is a big deal, and that people should be upset about that. But I'm trying to look at things in more of a macro perspective, right? So the amount of violence caused by right-wing protesters was mostly occupying a government building. And
the only bit of true violence that happened, okay, is a police officer was hit in the back of the head with a fire extinguisher. He later died of those injuries.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
that's actually worse than I knew. That's worse than I knew, actually.
Out of the 5 people that died, okay, 2 of them was a heart attack. 1 of them fell off a scaffolding and broke his neck. 1 was shot in the head by a police officer, and another police officer, a Capitol Police Department member, was hit in the back of the head with a fire extinguisher and succumbed to his injuries. And
that's so
both
sad.
of those deaths, deaths are tragic, and I want justice for both of those deaths. But I left the Capitol Hill at about 4:30 in the afternoon. At 7:00 in the morning, I walked down there, a fucking patriot, documenting. At 4:45, when I arrived at my hotel, I was deemed a domestic terrorist. And nothing happened. The rise of the boomers happened. I can tell you this was the most organic protest.
Yeah, that was obvious.
Because when they got into the Capitol, which wouldn't have happened had Capitol PD not fucking flashbanged people left and right.
All right, you were there.
Oh,
Sparky, I have another question for you.
Yes.
Do you think if the Supreme Court would have just heard the case, regardless of the outcome, let's say the outcome was the same, they heard the case, They said, yeah, things were messed up, but we can't grant the remedy.
The people who I talked to,
do you think that they still would have stormed the Capitol, or do you think that knowing that the court was actually paying attention at least would have quelled some of the anger?
it was not about Donald Trump.
Mm-mm.
I don't think it was about Trump too.
Donald Trump had absolutely nothing to do with that protest.
I thought
Donald Trump called for people to come down.
Yeah,
Donald Trump spoke at the events. But I will tell you this, every person who I spoke with, why are you here? We're here to support the president. If Donald Trump legitimately lost the election, would you still be here? And they say, no, we want voter integrity. We want transparency in our elections. We do not trust the vote count. And all we want is for our government to look into it and give us a thumbs up or thumbs down.
Yeah. So you're saying you just answered my question. Like yes, you believe the courts would have done their job. That wouldn't nothing would have happened.
Yes.
This is where I came out and I was like, I think the reason this is one of the things, like, you don't have to support what happened, but you can understand why it happened, right? I understand why Black Lives Matters riots whenever people are shot, right? Because they believe that there's a systemic issue going on where cops are shooting black people, like, for no reason, basically, right? And if you believe that, I understand when people are angry and they take to rioting. And I take that the same way whenever it came to the Capitol siege, right? The whole idea was they believed that the media apparatus in this country was gaslighting them because they hate 73 million people at least. And they also believed that the courts did not give them a fair hearing on their grievances, which is why people showed up protest. That is the way I see this, and I think that was, correct me if I'm wrong, but that was the anger of most people, is that the courts did not give them their fair hearing, and they were sick of being gaslighted by the media for their concerns.
That's a pretty, it's basic. That was a general feel. And I will tell you this, if they would have allowed everyone up on the steps, there would have been some more people. Of course, there was agitators there. Okay, there was highly visible agitators there. There was Antifa in the crowd, but Antifa wasn't the only ones that went in. Okay, there was patriots in there. There was there was like a grandma with a walker in there. People of all walks of life walked in that Capitol. I chose not to because I took a principled stand. But I could have. I was flashbanged. I got a little pepper spray here and there. I mean, they would not. All they wanted to do was get up on the stairs so they could make noise, so the freaking representatives and shit could hear them. So not only did they know people were there, not only did they see video of people were there, but they heard them. That's what they wanted.
They
could have opened the doors and allowed people to sit in the gallery and witness it.
I don't know if you were on earlier, which is like, you took a principled stance, and I have the same principle, right? Like, that it shouldn't have been done. It was completely counterproductive.
It was actually no. Okay, it was not counterproductive. No, it was productive. It's just not for the outcome some people wanted.
Yeah, explain further. Okay. Explain further, okay. Because I just don't see how, on the grand scheme of things, that anything positive came out of storming the Capitol.
Oh! Well, something positive did come out of storming the Capitol. A lot of positive things came out, and it's really about point of view. One positive notion is Congress now knows that people are paying attention. If they care or not, now that's a different story. It galvanized some people to make them dig in their heels. It showed America they're not alone, because there's a lot of people who weren't there, who wishes they were there. And when they saw people standing up, they're like, fuck yeah.
I suppose that's fair. Like
So
I can kind of give you that for
here's the thing.
people that
If you wanna
shared the
look-
rage. Like it was a symbolic stance at the least. My
if
issue.
you're looking at establishments, what did it do? Okay, if you look at the media right now, you see the media demonizing, boomers walking within the velvet ropes inside the Capitol, not tearing down statues and all this other stuff as the greatest attack that's happened on the American Capitol since 1814.
Yeah,
Well,
that's dumb. That's just dumb.
Yeah, here's a little history lesson. I'm old enough to remember when Kavanaugh was being confirmed, and they broke into the Senate. I'm old enough to remember.
Yeah, they broke into the Senate. They tried to break into the Supreme Court, but apparently the Supreme Court building is actually really fucking hard to get into if it's locked.
The Capitol is extremely hard to get into if they don't want people in, if they're really that worried. But look, what happened? I'll tell you the reason why people got in, and it was simple. The Capitol PD didn't have enough people. They underestimated the crowd. They went, oh, it's a conservative crowd. They're a bunch of pussies who won't do anything. We're gonna 1.5 times security. That's it.
Yeah, actually,
they'll comply.
That leads me to the only other point that I think might have actually had an effect, which it sucks because it's like they're not going to get any like. God, let me rethink this. Right, so we know if you riot for a left wing cause, right, the media mostly covers for you. They will never cover for a right-wing cause no matter what, right? They had like peaceful protests, like the most peaceful ever. Everything could be like cleaned up in Virginia when they were just doing 2A protest, and nothing happened at all. And they just said like this was an intimidating thing of white supremacists, blah blah blah, but nothing actually happened. But this time something actually happened, and it got painted in the most negative light you could possibly paint it in, right?
This is the most peaceful riot I have ever witnessed.
Well, they broke some windows, and the reality is a woman died. A woman died. Like that's.
Hold on. No, a woman was murdered by police.
Breaking out windows, but it's a very peaceful riot. Okay.
It was a peaceful riot. Look, I remember this past summer when DC was on fire. That was not a peaceful riot, but it was called a fiery but mostly peaceful protest.
Yeah. This is the most peaceful riot in the history of rioting. A woman was murdered by a cop. One cop was killed because he got bludgeoned over the head. But in the grand scheme of things, no private property was destroyed. The people destroyed their own property. They set their car on fire and did not file an insurance claim. No blood, no foul. You break as much as you want at the fucking Capitol. It's your goddamn house. My issue here is not to sit here and be like everything like what happened was good. My issue here is it's not a whataboutism to call out the media.
I'm not even saying it's good.
It's not a what. Well, I don't think you were necessarily. I think you would agree with me. They shouldn't have done that. Like it, like that. It was terrible. Everything that happened because of it was terrible. But I won't say it was terrible. My biggest problem of all of this is that we have spent the last year where if for whatever reason, right, anytime, it doesn't matter how justified it was, somebody was shot. It wasn't even last year, last 4 years, right? People showed up and they burnt down fucking cities. And they called it mostly peaceful and justifiable violence. Riots are the voice of the unheard. And they're treating this one as if it is unique and special compared to the other ones. And I honestly, like, I just can't wrap my head around it. I can't have any, like, I dare somebody to tell me why I should treat this one. Like, I don't like what happened. Like, I am part of what a lot of conservatives say, where I say this was fucking stupid. This is gonna hurt the conservative movement. Like, I'm kind of on Will Chamberlain's side about what happened, but at the same time, like, I'm not gonna sit here and be lectured by groups of people that, when it was for a left-wing cause, were supporting it and saying that this is the voice of the unheard. Like, I don't understand how one is okay and the other is not.
I pretty much, I've got to say this. Look, it wasn't terrible.
Even the left media never portrayed the riots over George Floyd as okay. Like, nobody.
That is completely that is completely fucking bullshit. Like, I have watched the CNN video where the guy says everything here is mostly peaceful while shit behind him is on fire.
Look, the death of George Kirby
as well. You know, like.
Hey, you know what? 5 people is a tragedy, but 30 in one fucking night is a hell of a bigger tragedy. Let's be honest about this. There was nothing as violent in this sieging or storming of the Capitol this week than there was nothing close to what happened in late May in America. Nothing. And it's intellectually dishonest to try to compare the two. The only commonality they have is angry people are involved in both. That's the only commonality. The outcomes were completely disparate and different. And anybody trying to say they were similar, you are being dishonest and you have a narrative to push, because these are 2 different groups of people with 2 different types of anger as well. And this needs to be recognized.
You know what my favorite Timma is? My favorite Timma is an angry Timma.
That is your narrative.
No, that is not my narrative. That is my observation. I don't have a narrative.
If I will, since I'm the only one that actually witnessed a fucking thing, because the media doesn't show you anything.
I was watching a ring stream of the whole thing.
I'll tell you this. This wasn't a tragedy. It was a fucking protest. It wasn't storming the goddamn castle. It was not storming the castle on high by any means. The Capitol was not stormed. It was walked into.
At what cost? They took the police shields of riot shields and broke into the windows to go inside. And after violence occurred, the police stepped down so people wouldn't get hurt anymore.
Yeah, but you know what? They didn't have to put the fire out, and they're still trying to figure out whose body they found in the building. There's a big fucking difference.
Cosmo, is it?
And the fact that you're relating it to the prior protests has nothing to do with what happened on January 6th.
Hey! First of all, look,
I really don't care about.
All right, man. Look, I'm not gonna argue. I'm not gonna fight to talk. You're talking out of your ass. So let me just go ahead and break this down for you. They didn't break the windows with the police shields. Plexiglass don't break glass. Hate to break it to you there, pal.
I mean, I saw it on video. Like, I literally saw them doing it. So
yeah, you literally know.
Okay,
they broke them with nightsticks, is what they did. They hit them with nightsticks.
But there is live footage of them breaking into the plexiglass and going inside.
There is live footage of them hitting it with nightsticks, breaking the glass. And they really didn't even enter through that way. They went in through the doors.
Any way necessary or means necessary is how they
Dude,
went
if they
in.
really wanted to get in, they would have went in through the tunnels underneath. You do realize that there's like 12 ways to get in that fucking Capitol, and almost anyone who goes to DC pretty much learns that. It's not that hard. And
Right, any way necessary. That's how they got.
they didn't.
They
went in
didn't.
through the front
They were
door.
walked in.
You guys think I'm an idiot, but there's live video, so you
No,
cannot.
no. I don't think you're an idiot. I don't think you're an idiot at all.
Well, you're trying to take me for an idiot, but
No, I'm not taking you for an idiot.
There's
You're
video-
easily showing it. Look, I'm going to tell you this. They came in through the door. They came in through the door. And when they came in through the door,
Well,
they came in through another door.
I know they came in through the door.
And they started
So-
taking selfies with the
There's video of
cops.
that as well.
So
They were taking selfies with the cops just down the walkway from where Ashley Babbitt got shot.
Yeah, I'm gonna be real honest.
Sorry.
Aircraft and Atema, what you guys are saying, like, it doesn't make my opinion on why it was so stupid even any
But-
better.
Look, I'm not-
Because they
I'm
got
not
in, they
saying
just took
it wasn't
selfies.
stupid. I'm not sitting there saying it wasn't stupid, but your guy Cosmo here is just puking bullshit.
No, I'm
And
not.
He-
I'm puking facts and evidence that I can back up.
Nigga, I was
Well,
there and I got film.
Well, hold on. You
I got
guys,
a-
Okay, well, I
unedited
got
shit.
more film
Hold
also
on,
from
you-
where you weren't standing at.
hold on. You guys actually, as far as I understand, didn't disagree. Cosmo said people went and broke windows, right?
No,
But
he actually was saying that they went in through the windows and through any means necessary.
Which is
No,
true.
that is incorrect.
No, it is.
You
true.
are feeding a narrative. Stop it.
Well, so like somebody.
No, I'm feeding the truth. You're
No,
not.
you're not.
Well,
Yes,
hold on,
I
hold on,
am.
hold on, hold
No,
on.
you're not.
Hold up, hold up,
Okay,
hold up.
when you
Let
break
me chill
the
here.
windows and go in, or
All right.
you tear down barricades from unfinished parts of the Capitol. That's trying
Look,
to get in
look,
at any
look,
means
look,
necessary.
look,
That
look,
That were
look, look.
unfinished parts. That
look.
was at the inauguration. of the Capitol.
I'm taking over this real quick. Aircraft Sparky, did somebody go through the window? Did one person? Maybe 2, 3?
Maybe, but I'm talking about
Yeah,
that
yeah,
is
yeah,
so
you're saying-
inconsequential. It's not even
Maybe.
1%.
I know, no.
Maybe.
Hold on. This is what I'm trying to say. Is that you guys? We can sit there and say, like, what did most people get into? And I think Aircraft, you're right. I think most people went through the door. And
Yeah,
Cosmo
he's
Cosmo
framing it.
can also be correct that some
But he's
people
framing
did
it.
go through the window. And no, I
But he's
understand.
framing it in a way to make it sound worse. He is pushing.
No.
a narrative.
I get it. I get why you're trying to be resistant to him. But Cosmo, he's not lying based on what he saw. It
Right.
did happen, but all you're trying to say, in which I think these two ideas can coexist, that
No, they can't.
yes, some people broke like we know they broke the windows with, like you said, the batons. You agree on that? Like,
Yeah.
you guys both agree.
Yeah.
And some people went in through the window, but the majority of people actually just went in through the doors.
Yeah,
And
when-
Right.
that is,
After the woman got
and-
shot and the police back down, yes.
I actually, what you just said there, that is something I don't think anybody has information on. What
Oh, no,
happened?
you wanna
What
see the
happened
video?
when?
Because
see the
they don't
video? 'Cause it's
understand
out.
the purpose of police protocol.
I do. I completely understand police protocol.
So do I.
In controlling a riot or protest or whatever you guys feel comfortable with hearing.
Well, I'm trained with. I'm trained in all that stuff. That's
I
kind
I
of-
have no problem calling what happened that day a riot. I have no issue
I
with
do.
it.
It was a riot. No, it was a riot.
To make
I'll
sure
No, I
say it was
have a
riot.
problem with it.
But when
I have
people
a problem with
that
it.
thing change. Things
I have a
change.
problem with it. I have a problem with it. I have a problem with it because if we got to call it peaceful protest for 6 fucking months and I'm still getting to pay the fucking bill for 6 fucking months of Antifa and BLM going and doing whatever the fuck they want all
See,
over
that's a
Oregon.
narrative.
No,
That's
fuck you. I live here. I have to pay the bill, dude. I live here. We have to pay the bills for all the shit they
we tried to
burn.
say everything was a peaceful protest when it was Black Lives Matter, and no, they obviously said it was rioting, and they
They never
mainstream
called it
media was
rioting.
everywhere
They called them
watching
peaceful
cities fall apart.
protesters. You go ahead and go open an Oregon Live article right now, and you will see every single one of them calls those Portland riots protests. Every
sorry.
single, even though the conservative news media out here calls them fucking protests.
And
So
they
no,
call it
I do
rioting
have a
just as
problem
much
with
as
calling
they did
one riot
protesting.
and not the other.
Yeah,
They say it's
I'm
rioting
sorry.
and just as much as they say protesting. Just
I
like Donald Trump would say, there's very fine people on both sides. You know, you're playing to both sides of it.
That's
Yeah, when it's your neighbor that gets shot in the street for no fucking reason. Let me know how you
really,
feel,
Cosmo? Did you use very fine people on both sides?
Yeah. He invoked Charlottesville.
Do you know what he said there? Like he actually
Jesus Christ.
said he's not talking about.
There was bad. Okay, I mean they were saying there was bad people, but there was always very fine people on both sides.
No. My God.
Well, he condemned, and he says he's not talking about the white nationalists and the neo-Nazis. He was very specific to there are people on the side of the argument on monuments that they should stay.
Like, you're just offensive, and you're not even worth talking with because, oh fuck you. I mean, like that's just garbage talk, bro. Like I'm not even listening.
I'm not going to pay attention to the chat here. We're talking here in voice. From the very fine people on both sides is one of the biggest lies ever told about Donald Trump. He didn't say that. Like he said that he thought the neo-Nazis that were there were very fine people. He said that in the context of there were people that did not believe that Confederate monuments should be torn down for valid reasons, and that they were fine people. What my
point was? My point was saying that I'm not saying that he didn't condemn the white nationalists or was calling them very fine people. That was not my point at all.
Okay.
My point was he's playing to both sides. He's still bantering. Just like she's saying that, we're just calling the riots in Minnesota and Portland and Oregon all just protests. That's not true.
It is.
Specifically said that there was rioting and protesting.
No.
And to say it was just protesting is not accurate.
It is accurate.
No, it's accurate in your mind because you have a biased
it's
opinion.
accurate. No, it's accurate by the fucking news I read all the time locally, dude.
Well, obviously biased news.
No, you're right. You are actually right. What he just said there is correct. It was
he's actually right.
It was obviously biased news. That is 100% correct. There is nothing wrong with that statement. Tim, are you going to disagree that it was biased news?
No, but it's fucking retarded. Yeah. It doesn't even have a purpose.
What Cosmo, and I think you are actually downplaying it. I think you're downplaying.
I think both people are downplaying both parts of the party.
No, of course.
Advantage here.
No. Let
me fucking know, dude.
Of course.
Dude, Timma.
Look.
You don't really have to talk over everybody.
All right. Real quick. Cosmo, what I'm saying is that what you said, I think, was 100% correct. That it was biased news. I'm glad you recognize that it's biased news. I think the biggest disagreement you're going to have between each other is the prevalence of how biased that news was. And I think it was very prevalent. I think it was very prevalent that most of the major news outlets were trying to cast this in a favorable light, despite the violence, because it was a cause that they signed on to. And I think that, this goes exactly hand in hand with why we're talking about the Capitol. Once again, I disagree with it, but I think they're making a big deal of it because it's an idea. People were protesting and rioting based on things that the media did not agree with. And I think we can see that. I think that is even measurable. I think it's measurable. I think it's measurable to a point where we like Atima can say, declare victory only on the sense that she can look at the number of articles written, especially in her local area, and seeing how people burning down private businesses and looting private businesses were painted in a favorable light versus this current situation, while it's almost universally being painted negative because the cause was not something that aligned with what the majority of news outlets wanted.
While
So
while simultaneously experiencing what happens when you make bigotry part of politics.
Okay, so
yeah, that goes back to the postmodern stuff
I'd really
that I've
love
been
to
talking
jump
about.
in here.
Go for it, Sparky, please.
Okay, so the media is basically, there's 5 branches of government. Bear with me. You have legislative, executive, judicial, your traditional 3. Your 4th estate, the media. And then you have the people, the mob, the unwashed, if you will. The not so elite. What we saw Wednesday was literally an organic protest that did evolve into a semantic riot. We'll semantically call it a riot because
told them to march down there and do so.
no, the president told them to go down there and protest peacefully, might I add.
No, he didn't.
Shut the fuck up, dude.
No, he didn't.
Watch the speech. You bootlicking
I have seen it
fucking
Yes,
many times, and he
he
says nothing about
fucking
marching down
did.
peacefully and protesting. He
Yes,
never once
he
said that.
fucking did. He has done nothing but talk about peaceful protest for a fucking year and a half now, dude. Every protest he talks about says has to be peaceful. If he needs to say that every single time for you to get it, that's on you. Because the rest of us have been listening to it for 4 motherfucking years, and we picked up the fucking memo by now.
Okay, so
when you incite a riot, you don't talk about peaceful protest at the time. You might have before. And you might downplay what happened later and say, "Oh, though I condemn this now, 4 hours later, after you've already said for people march down there and have trial by combat."
Okay, you know what? I gotta go. I gotta go. I'm out. Later.
You brought a bootlicker on. I'm not going to play this game.
Yeah.
Have a great night.
Yep.
I thought I brought up principled opposition. Look, look. It's
surrender.
I
Close your mind and surrender, kids. That's the answer.
All right, hey Cosmo, I would say I actually kind of understand some of the positions you're taking. They hear them a lot. They don't know that you can add additional nuance to it.
It's they don't want to accept anything that they don't want to believe.
Well, no, it's because you have to understand that there's hollow versions of what you're arguing for that are all over the place, but it's no different. I will say a little bit that
they're doing the same thing.
Well, no, the right wing can do the same thing too, right? They can have these hollow arguments, right?
Exactly.
But there are people that exist that hold the arguments and they're not hollow. I think they could pry. We could pry deeper.
They never addressed the trial by combat statement.
Well, also here's another thing is that like me and you know each other, right? Like I'm not a bad person. No, even if I have ideas that you're just like, oh, those ideas are terrible, you just realize that like I just came to a conclusion that you disagree with, which is this is something I just have to say to everybody else about Cosmo.
We're not adult enough to have a
we understand agreeing to disagree. And I still get why like
you're calling me a bigot, but you're the one. Hold on, Temma's calling me a bigot, but she's the one that's unable to accept another point of view. Right.
Well,
see ya.
Yeah, I don't look. I'm not. You know what? I'm not. This is one of those things like I'm not going to get into the middle of because it's one of those late night things, right? And we're all sitting here talking about ideas that a lot of us hold really close to us, and
right.
Once again, like you're guilty. Hold on, you are guilty. You are guilty. You are guilty on this stream. Like I'm just saying. Like I'm not saying this because it's a problem with you. It's just the way people work, right? You have spouted out ideas today that carry another weight, like carry extra weight, and you have defended it without necessarily understanding the nuance of the other side because we never got there, didn't get there, and it's not it's one of those things. These are deep issues, and I get it, right? I things got heated, right? I understand that,
Not
but
for me, because I act like an adult. I don't need to just run off because someone else is telling me a different view. Like I'm gonna back
well,
up.
yeah, things were also getting into the realm of not talking like adults. Well, I mean, talking like adults, but adults that were angry at each other. We went from conversation to argumentation. I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream. Cosmo, I know that my friends Aircraft and Atima are really mad at you. I'm actually glad to have you on as devil's advocate. Maybe
Well,
we can
I'm
maybe
pretty
maybe
part of
we
that.
maybe we can do a little bit better next time. Uh, I'm gonna go ahead and end this stream. It was fun talking.
I'm gonna send you a message with my information. I'm gonna be taking a new job, so I might not be in town as much as I was, but I'm gonna send you like my number if you want to kick it sometime.
Oh yeah, sure. Like, are you back in KC? I thought you were still in Colorado.
Oh, I got a KC loft like right down the street from where you used to be.
Oh shit, man! Like, you can come over to my apartment and we can land fucking games anytime you want, dude.
I got a pretty big place here
Yeah,
too.
into Aircraft in Atima is me and Cosmo's relationship. It has nothing to do with politics or streaming. Like, we just play games. We just play
Talk
games
about
and
politics in a civil manner.
well, we would occasionally, but 99% of the time we just play games together, right?
Sure,
We don't
we could knock out something.
we don't give a shit about our political opinions, which I think is the right way to approach Discord on an individual basis, right? Like, you can be friends with the Trump supporter, man. Like, you're not one of those people that's like, oh, you support Trump, I'm gonna blackball you, and I'm not one of those people that's like,
I'm not one of those people. Oh, you support actual facts and evidence that doesn't support what I view, then I can't hear you anymore and I have to leave. I'm not one of those people either.
all right, that was a little low, but that's not where I wanted to go.
Hey, I
Anyway,
understand. But that's
yeah. Hit me up. I'll give you my message me. I'll give you my new phone number too. I have a new phone, so I've had it for a long time. So
I've been waiting for you to come back on so I could get your Discord. So I'll send it over.
yep,
Thanks, man.
yep. I'll talk to you later. Anyway, everybody else, I'm gonna end the stream. Sorry for any degeneracy, but I think this was a fun thing. So I'll talk to you guys later.